Up with KREM begins now.
We start with breaking news at this hour. Spokane Fire is at a structure fire in Hillyard right now. As you can see, they are there at the scene. There is a heavy cloud of smoke coming from that building right now. We brought you this at the beginning of our 5 o'clock hour, and there was some flames to be seen at the building. However, it does look to appear that Spokane Fire has seemingly gotten everything kind of under control. You can see they're putting water on the building right now and just kind of making sure nothing spreads to any other buildings around the area. Again, this is in the Hillyard area, so if you're woken up by fire trucks or you see them outside your house, this is the reason why. Now, we are working to find out what caused the fire this morning. We will continue to bring you updates here on Up with KREM. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us on Up with KREM. Happy Tuesday. I'm Christian Garza. Tim has the morning off. We also want to welcome you if you're streaming us on KREM 2+. Right now, let's bring in meteorologist Thomas Patrick at the Weather Center because, even though the rain has calmed down for now, we are expected to see some high winds across the inland northwest, which means that we are again in a weather impact alert. Isn't that right, Thomas?
Yeah, just want to make sure that everybody's aware that when it comes to the wind speeds for today, that actually could do some damage. It could cause power outages, so it ends up being a little bit more than just inconvenient, though it certainly was annoying even just stepping outside first thing this morning because the winds are already more than blustery out there and expected to continue to increase or accelerate in terms of wind speeds for the rest of the morning hours. So wind advisories are in effect from now all the way until 6 o'clock tonight. I think the heaviest winds will be felt during the late morning hours as we lead up to noon today, but already very feisty as you see 48-mile-per-hour winds in Pullman and even in the 50-mile-per-hour range from Lewiston to Walla Walla. In fact, it is southeastern Washington that is likely going to get the strongest winds overall across the region. And as we look at the storm system as a whole, it is pressing through Washington and British Columbia right now. That's where all the wind energy is coming from. That's why it's going to stay very blustery today.
Thank you, Thomas. And here's a live look at the traffic impact this morning. Right now, you're looking at I-90 and US 2. As you can see, the roadways are clear and dry, and people are starting their commute for the day. On Up with KREM, we bring you weather and traffic together every 30 minutes. This morning, as we see those high wind speeds throughout the area, it also means storm damage such as broken tree limbs and power outages are possible, like Thomas just mentioned. The National Weather Service says downed trees are also a possibility because the wet ground from the melting snow and rain makes it easier for these high winds to do damage. Now, we did reach out to Avista, who says they'll continue to keep an eye on the forecast. Avista says they are standing by with crews ready to respond if power does end up going out. And remember, if you do find a downed power line as a result of these high winds, do not go near it. Report it instead. And here on Up with KREM, we want to prepare you if your power does end up going out. Here are some tips from the National Weather Service to stay warm. Close off doors and two rooms to avoid wasting heat. Close blinds or curtains to keep that heat inside. Stuff towels or rugs in cracks under doors. Wear layers of loose-fitting, lightweight, warm clothing, and be sure to eat and drink since food provides energy. However, avoid things like caffeine and alcohol. This morning, US 2 is back open after being shut down due to flooded roads for most of the day yesterday. WashDOT says the biggest factor in the recent water buildup was melting snow. Crews pumped water out of the roadway before tackling the debris that came with it. Right now, WashDOT says it's important for drivers to keep an eye out for standing water and debris as well.
Use extreme caution. If it is bad enough to where we feel like it requires a road closure, we will be out there with closure signs and crews, making sure that the public's not putting themselves in danger. But if they could just also do us a favor, turn around, don't drown. We don't want folks driving through any standing water.
In the meantime, WashDOT is also advising drivers to factor in possible delays while driving, but crews say the continued scattered showers shouldn't bring floods like we saw over the weekend. To stay up to date on the weather conditions, follow us here on Up with KREM this morning. Plus, get news and weather on your time with KREM 2+. KREM 2+ is free to download on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. It's time for your wake-up call. We want to see your storm photos from the past few days. Now, these are photos that we've seen just of flooded areas across the region. As you can see, some of them are people's front lawn, some of them are from the river, but you drive the conversation on this show, so text us at the number 509-448-2000 or use the hashtag #UpWithKrem on social media. This morning, a North Idaho woman will not be facing charges after she was dragged out of a Republican town hall event in Coeur d'Alene over the weekend. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy spoke with a woman who watched it all unfold.
Chaos and confusion as a North Idaho woman was dragged from a Kootenai County legislative town hall Saturday. Tanya Coppage shot this video as she sat directly behind Dr. Teresa Borenpaul. They're part of the same Facebook group of liberal women who wanted the chance to address lawmakers.
Like, people are able to ask questions and see if their legislators are okay what's going on in Washington. Like, I thought it would be something more like that. Instead,
witnesses say dissenters to the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee's views were told to shut up. Laura Tennyson is often with Borenpaul at these town halls.
And every single one that we've been to, we have never been able to ask a question.
She admits they were heckling in an effort to get their voices heard.
There were people all over the auditorium, booing, cheering, yelling things out, some in support.
But she says when Borenpaul kept speaking out,
there's an opportunity for you to sound off.
Sheriff Bob Norris tried to pull her out. The sheriff was unavailable Monday, but spoke with KREM 2 News Saturday, saying attendees were warned not to disrupt.
Some that I saw, no less than 10 times they were asked to leave.
We have now learned that Teresa Borenpaul will not be cited for allegedly biting a security officer as she was forcibly removed from Saturday's town hall. Coeur d'Alene's police department now says they have more evidence and videos to investigate. But we do know Lear Asset Management, the security company, has now lost its license. A Coeur d'Alene police spokesperson says they violated city law requiring clear uniform markings identifying them as security. Borenpaul, once a Democratic State House candidate, declined to speak as she looks for an attorney, but she posted she never imagined her right to free speech and public assembly could be stripped so violently.
It sends a terrifying message. I couldn't believe that what I was seeing was happening in the United States of America.
Calls and emails to the security company were not returned Monday. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
The Coeur d'Alene Mayor's office is now weighing in on the situation. They released a statement saying both the mayor, Woody McEvers, and city council are in support of government officials treating everyone equally, saying, quote, "We set a clear expectation that the law of the state of Idaho and the U.S. Constitution will be followed in any interaction with our citizens." The statement says the mayor supports the police chief's investigation efforts. You can read that complete statement on our website, krem.com. Staying in North Idaho now, this morning, a Smelterville man sits in the Kootenai County Jail. The Shoshone County Sheriff's Office arrested Ryan Gaddy because of threats on Facebook against State Representative Jordan Redmond from Coeur d'Alene and his family. According to our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press, Gaddy posted commentary about firebombing Redmond's office. Gaddy also made a video outside Redmond and Company Insurance, his family place of business. He was charged with felony threat of a public servant and a misdemeanor threat against a state official. The Shoshone County Sheriff's Office says Gaddy is now being held on a $25,000 bond.
The weather conditions today not only going to be windy, but we still are going to get at least a little bit more rainfall across the region. As we look at Doppler radar right now, if you're in Spokane and then you start heading eastward, by the time you get to about Liberty Lake or the state line, you'll start running into some light rainfall. In fact, it's been pretty damp across Kootenai County already this morning as you see Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, and Rathdrum all basically all over this rainfall at the moment. And that's where it's mostly going to stay today. North Idaho is going to get more rain than, say, eastern Washington, but we'll see light scattered showers to go with the heavy wind speeds through the morning and the afternoon today.